Good evening, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. And this evening, I will be enjoying a David off. This is the Millennium Blend, which is also a Robusto and Connecticut. If you guys can blend in on that. That is a David off, Millennium, Robusto Bill with a Connecticut blend. Where are my ends? Toast the end. Give it a good head. No pun intended. For tonight. I don't want to be before you long like a good pastor, but I do want to talk about this because this topic, and of course during the chat you can ask me anything, but this topic needs to be pushed down, concrete inside people's heads, because I think it's very, very important. Now, the first conversation we're going to have is going to be about the future of the job market. The future of the job market. Whether you're 20 or in your 30s and you're not near retirement, the job market is going to have a shift. And if you don't know, and if you don't put your kids into IT, they won't last. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Let's get into it. So what we need to understand is that a lot of the jobs that you see, they're going to soon go away. A lot of manufacturing jobs, a lot of jobs at Walmart, big conglomerate stores that machines and robots can actually do. And it's coming in the next 5 to 10 years. You're going to slowly see by the year 2030 that 5 million jobs will be totally wiped away and handled by robots. Where do you think those 5 million jobs are going to go? Who is going to essentially program and master the code of the robots and AI? Those 5 million jobs just don't go away. What they do, they increase their data analysts, their data scientists, their data engineers, their software developers. If you guys do not get into IT, you will be homeless. There's no other way. You will be homeless. Good evening, David E. Crowder. Nice to see you, brother. Let's get into it, though. Now, when I give you this information here, family, this is not if. This is a fact. This is the truth. When it comes to the job market of your career, your skills, experience, degrees, and certification. I've been telling you guys you need certifications. And certification is not long as college. So, oh man, I want to go to 4 years of school. I got it. But can you go to 1 year of school that's going to make you $95,000 a year? That's going to make you $150,000 a year? Because remember when we were growing up, some of us, that the number we all wanted to reach was $50,000 a year. Like, man, I remember being a teenager, like, man, I want to make $50,000 a year because we heard our parents talking about it. That was the goal of anybody. Can anybody tell me the new $50,000 salary that most people want to make a year? Can anybody tell me? Don't worry about it. $100,000. $100,000 about 2 or 3 years ago, it was $80,000. So over the years, it has had a dramatic jump of the desired wages, the desired salary of most people. I remember when it's $50,000, $80,000, and this year, with inflation at 5.4%, it's at $100,000. That's why in the age of the millennials, they are living all together in one big apartment. It's like 3 or 4 people in their 20s and 30s living with other people. Now, usually when a man hits his mid-20s, early 30s, he's already with a family living in a single family home, but not anymore. A lot of people are not starting families because it's too expensive. So if you don't prepare for the future, when we're talking about jobs and careers, skills, experience, certifications, and degrees, you're going to be left behind homeless. But you may not take it for what it is. Good evening, Teddy Woodson. So let's get into it, family. Now that anytime somebody wants to join the chat, there's a link in the chat that you can click. So the title of this article is Tech Expert Predict 13 Jobs That Will Be Automated by 2030. 13 jobs that will be automated by 2030. Stay with me. They're talking about as artificial intelligence and machine learning have advanced, human labor is no longer, human labor is no longer necessary. Did y'all see that? Is no longer necessary for certain tasks in the workplace. So anytime you replace robots or automation, that's what they try to, to give us some cool name, automation. No, they mean machine learning robots and artificial intelligence software programs has already taken over 13 jobs, and they're still scheduled to take over another 13 jobs in the future. So you think you're safe on your job because you already got 10 years in it. I'm trying to tell you right now, I hope you have the skills. I hope you have the experience. I hope you have the gift of gab to keep your job. They're going to ask you, why do I need you? And I can get a robot to do it. You're going to tell them, well, boss, I'm going to work hard for you. The machine will work harder. I just have to program it. I just have to program it. We're a boss, I'll come in on time. I'll take care of myself. I won't get sick. Robot never goes home. Robot never gets sick. Robot never get tired. Robot never calls out. Robot says, oh, my kids are going to college. I'm going to go see their first day. Robots don't do that. Robots continue to work around the clock as long as somebody's supporting the software and someone supplying the power. That is where we are, family. Let's look at it, though. Don't take my word for it. Insurance underwriters. If you work at a bank, you work at Quicket Loans, whatever, right? You work at some loan. They're soon replacing loan underwriters, the people who go through contracts with loans, car loans, house loans, etc. That job is going to be wiped away. The article right here reads, says we're starting to see an upward automation trend in needs analysis, where underwriting and sustainability analysis determine the appropriate insurance product for applying individual, because the software is only math. They can program software to look at the numbers. It's like a calculator, right? If I say, family, go to moneychimp.com and put in an interest calculator, the only thing you need is the numbers. Right? That's all you need are the numbers. You put in the numbers, it gives you your interest rate or it gives you your monthly amount. Why do I need an insurance underwriter? Think about it. Warehouse and manufacturing jobs. If some of you guys know my history, I used to work for Amazon as an operations manager. And I want to say about 15 or 20%, listen to this, 15 or 20% warehouse is ran by robots, automatic pallet lifts. The Kiva field, they had a Kiva field because the name of the machines were Kivas, where towers are products where there's no human interaction. The slam machine, that's what they used to call it, the slam machine. It's all automated. What is the slam machine? Shipping label automatic something. Mail, automatic mail. That's what it means in Amazon. It puts the label on it before it can be shipped out. So right there's no jobs. So I want you to think about it like this. Out of 100 people, when they made those robots, they lost their job. Now Amazon, who once needed 100 people, only need 80 people. Think about the percentage of jobs that just was lost. 20 families affected, 20 families homeless, 20 families hungry because of automation. What am I telling you to do to prepare yourself for the future? Is you better get an IT job or understand some sort of IT. And the most thing that you need to focus on is coding. You need to focus on coding, family. That's where all the jobs are going. See, they got these titles and names for them, but they're going to ask you what coding language you speak. They're going to ask you what coding language do you speak. And I'm going to break it down because I'm a person with 3 degrees, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. I have a kind of an unofficial certification in project management that I went to this course with, but it's not from the PMP Institute. Why did I go after all of these degrees and certifications? Because I try to protect myself for the future. And this is what you have to do, family, because again, in 2030, 13 jobs will be taken out. And if you work in any warehouse or manufacturing job or answering the phone, you will not have a job anymore. Next, customer service. You work at a call center, you're answering the phone for AT&T, you're answering the phone for Amazon. Soon these jobs will go away. They already have outsourced these jobs to India and the Philippines. So these jobs are slowly going away already for Americans, let alone in 2030, customer service will be answered by robots. And some of you out there with Google phones, you understand what I'm talking about, because you can have Google answer the phone for you, screen the phone for you, and actually give the teller a message and you never answer the phone. You can even do it on your side. So customer service jobs are going away. Answering the phone is going away. Because your phone can already do it. I can have where someone calls me, Google screens a call and tell them he'll call you later. I never answer the phone. It's already here. Research and data entry. No, you don't need that anymore, family. You have robots and machine learning that can read books and decipher the information. If you're not going to get into coding, if you're not going to get into software, if you're not going to get into program writing, you're not going to be profitable for anyone. Because you know what's coming next, family? And I want you to think about automation in every sector, in every field. You know what's coming next. You're going to be looking outside, waiting for the trash man. There's a truck that's going to come down with no people on it. It's going to be a robotic arm that dumps your trash and keep it moving. Davey says they want to try replacing us humans for robots. I truly believe there will be lots of poverty later on in the future. Oh, definitely. This is every futuristic movie you saw where a certain amount of the population advance and protect themselves with technology, and the army, everybody else lived in different wars. Remember Hunger Games? Remember everybody else was poor except this one elite group? Those are your software developers. Those are your IT. Those are your data research scientists, data analysts, researchers, doctors. Soon doctors are going away. They already have robots that can perform surgeries in China. They probably made it with lead, but you know. This is what I'm talking about. Tonight's candle, ladies and gentlemen, is cedar. Okay. For you guys not familiar with that one, that is cedar. That's the candle we're going to be enjoying tonight. We're deep into the discussion. We're only halfway there, family. Oh, this is important. For those people who are tuning off, you're going to miss a lot of great information that I think you need to understand, that on these particular jobs that I'm going through, they won't be around the next 5 to 10 years. You might want to start preparing yourself for the future. I just got off the phone with a friend who was a chef. He said, man, they got robots cooking the food now, chopping up onions and everything. I said, what? He said, if you do get a job, you're going to work your butt off, because for every 2 people they used to have, they got 1. And I'm talking about like a nice restaurant, a chef. So he ended up being a nutritionist for a large corporation. And a job like that, a nutritionist, and if you can get a higher up job, there's not going to be too many people to replace that job. They always want to talk to somebody about nutrition and not a robot. Because, you know, psychiatry, that's not going nowhere. You may not pay that much. But most people nowadays don't want to talk to a robot. Let's get into it. Product line evolution, same thing, manufacturing. Local TV advising, they're going to pre-program the software to put up these advertisements. No one's doing it manually no more. Pharmaceutical discovery. This is easy. Can't you think of automation when you go to the pharmacy? They have a giant warehouse. They have many. Think about this. I'm not thinking on a CVS scale. I'm thinking on a very, very large scale. They have a huge warehouse like an Amazon warehouse. And on each side of the warehouse, they have 4 windows. So you drive up, you give them your prescription, you scan your ID card and make sure you are you. They scan it. Minute, 2 minutes later, your pills pop out. Your prescription pops out. That's easy, because inside, when they read your prescription, they're going to scan a barcode. It's going to tell the computer what prescription you have. Go and retrieve that medicine and drop it down, because they're going to always have the medicine, because previous to that, you're going to go on your application and you're going to see at this particular pharmacy warehouse, do they have your prescription and how many do they have? They're going to tell you, and you're going to rush over there and you're going to get your prescription. This is where jobs are going. And the people behind that's creating and writing all the code and software and platform language, Linux, Raspberry, to name a couple, a Snowflake. All of these are tech and computer languages that you may need to be familiar with, rather than actually knowing it. But you need to be familiar with. They're going to ask you, do you know anything about Linux? You like, Linux? Who is that? Lennox Lewis, the fighter? Like, nah, Negro. Software language. They're going to say, do you know anything about Raspberry? You're going to say, yeah, I like Raspberry. They say, oh, you like Raspberry? So how do you actually write any code in Raspberry? What are you talking about, code? I eat Raspberry. They're like, this nigga. These are where the jobs are going, family. Robots will make us humans being lazy by doing everything. You're right. Bass Man, you're right. Davey, you're right. Because here's the thing. I have a RoboVac. We put up the chairs. Go get it. It can vacuum and it can mop. It can. It got a little pad. It wets itself with the solution you put in there. Goes across your floor. That's where it's at, family. Oh, this is going to be easy too. Banking services and retail checkout. It's going to have the same concept as the pharmacy, where you just drive up, scan your check's barcode, show your ID, voila, the money. And then ID cards, because fraud is going to be an all-time high because everything is going to be automated. You just got to show your ID. By then, they may have face recognition. But anyway, these are where jobs are going. Outbound sales, that's going away. Fast food services, you already see this. You see where fast food is going. You go to McDonald's, Burger King, Jack in the Crack, Wendy's, doesn't matter. White Castle, In-N-Out, Whataburger, doesn't matter where you go. You're going to put in your order, because even when you come in some of these places, you don't even interact with the people no more. Have you noticed that? Panera Bread, you go to these places, you go up to a kiosk and you point it in, and then you go up to a counter where people are just fixing the food. It's already halfway there in your Panera Breads and some of your McDonald's. When I was overseas in Korea, that's what they had. They had McDonald's and they had kiosks, and you just go up to a counter, pick up the food. You never interact with people. They already took out 3 or 4 jobs. You see this? You've seen it. You just didn't bring it to the forefront of your consciousness. Long haul trucking. Long haul trucking, family. Long haul trucking. You got to break this down a little bit better than this. A lot of you guys have your CDL. And matter of fact, my brother has been a truck driver for the past 12 years. He's driven for Swift. He's driven for Coca-Cola. Now he drives for the city that he works in. But here's the thing, family. Trucking is going to be self-driving. 18-wheelers. There's not going to be anybody driving. Already, we have cars that drive themselves. Like my car, I have a button to keep me in the lane. I have a button to steer me in the lane. I have adaptive cruise control. And when I set that, it automatically adjusts the speed and brakes itself when I'm coming into close proximity to another vehicle. So on our way to Houston, I put all those buttons in. Took me 2 seconds. The car drove 75% of the way. The car, well, let me 50% of the way out of a 4-hour drive. Think about that. Think about how that's going to change. Now, you know, Elon Musk is already getting into electric 18-wheeling. He's going to have the same technology that he has in his Teslas. Would it be the Model 3, the Model Y, the PS100, PSD100? He already has self-driving technology in them, and people, they're using the technology. And he already creating 18-wheelers. So for you guys out there with your CDL license, you want to start a trucking company? I probably got 2 pieces of advice for you. If you're still in your 20s and 30s, or even in your 40s, you should definitely pick up some other certifications to make you more valuable. Because what you're thinking is, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna buy a couple of those computer trucks. Why do we need you? If Tesla make 18-wheelers and they're self-driving, why would they allow you to buy any of them? They'll just take up all the contracts and they will wheel and deal so the individual entrepreneur won't get any jobs. This is how corporations work. Corporations don't come into your city and town to help out. They come in to take over. That's what they do, family. They come in to take over. So if you're not future-proof in your career, then you're going to be utterly left behind, because trucking is going away. And I know that I'm going to see it in my lifetime. I'm just saying, if you think you're going to get a contract and buy you a couple of machine learning, AI, automatic driving, self-automated trucks, they're not going to allow you to get them because they're just going to program the damn truck to go from Tesla to wherever grocery store or warehouse they need to pick up the products and then to the next destination and then return back to Tesla. And then on the back of that, because they already have it, you go, well, who gonna unload the products? They already got these arms that's built in the back of the 18-wheeler that goes down into pallets, picks it up, put it in the warehouse on the shelf, goes back, closed down, and the trucker drives out. Holler at your boy. This is what I'm talking about. Delivery service. Uh-oh. Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, you're going away. Either now, Uber may be around for a while. They do a lot of technology. Lyft is trying to get into technology. So I think they're going to really try to get into this space before the larger corporations get into it because they see the future. And what am I talking about? We use DoorDash here. Have you guys seen that little buggy that you can put a pizza in? It drives up to your location, right? It's a small little vehicle. It's all autonomous. The guy comes out from the store, puts the pizza in a box to deliver to you. It comes to your doorstep. You lift up the box, take your pizza. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of people who try to steal the robot. They got GPS tracking. It's going to be a crime. But this is how they're going to start delivering food. So if I'm Domino's, why would I use DoorDash unless DoorDash give me some of their profit? That's the only way DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats are going to say or going to make any money because Domino's say, hey, I'm not going to go through you anymore. We're just going to directly do it ourselves. Then DoorDash say, you know what? For every $10, we'll give you $1. Oh, that's 10%. Okay, that's good. We'll do that because we're still going to deliver pizzas. This is the way it goes. Bassman says Tesla will allow you to lease these vehicles out with no liability on them, but the cost will be on you. Exactly. Any task can be learned. Think about that. It says here, let me blow it up. Within the next 10 years, tasks that can be learned will be automated. The focus for most engineers, data engineers, software engineers, at the moment is advancing of level of automation across the board to more advanced applications in industry. That way we will realize these advancements is building systems that can learn things that need to automate on their own. And within the next 10 years, this should be a reality. Global fintech, this should be a reality in the next 10 years. There's people right now watching Netflix missing all this great information. You should call your friends, share the video, give this video a thumbs up because you know that the information I'm actually referring to and giving you the examples of is 1,000% true. This is why Financial Literacy 101 exists. I'm trying to educate the people because you may not like corporations. You may think these corporations, like Davey said, are taking away all the jobs. But family, you can't worry about that and you can't stop it. See, I'm not going to go in here and go hard. They taking away. I'm not speaking up for people who are not willing to adapt because you're not going to stop big corporations. You're not going to stop tech companies. You're not going to stop software companies. You're not going to stop them. What you have to do is adapt and overcome. That's what you have to do. You have to adapt and overcome. Out with the bad, in with the good. Here we go. Here are the top 10 jobs of the future. for 2030. Why does everybody keep talking about 2030? 2030 and beyond. Now, for you guys who've been living in a cave and under a rock, we're like 8.5 years away from 2030. 8.5 years. And I want you to ask yourself, are you going to be retired in 8 years? I want you to ask yourself, are you going to be retired in 8 years? There's all these websites, all of these journals and news reports and news articles. They're saying by 2030, by 2030, by 2030, by 2030. And no one's listening. No one's reading. No one's noticing the trends in technology. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. Look up the ratio of people passing a bar exam on their second or third try. Look at the percentage of people who change their mind, who fall out from studying, trying to be a lawyer, trying to be a quote unquote business person. Business people are tech people now. You rarely see anyone wearing suits anymore. Most people are wearing short sleeve shirts, shorts, and some loafers. Only really the older generation, the older guys, high executives, they're the ones wearing your suits. Most likely they're the ones wearing your suits. Because even some middle to high management, they get to wear whatever they want to wear. Bassman says the robotic forklift is already out. I saw it firsthand in Cigarette Warehouse. Oh, yeah, that's been out. Oh, yeah, Amazon had that probably already for 5-6 years. Technology is more advanced than what we see. See, people are like, oh, you saw that? Nah, I'm worried about what I didn't see. All right, let's look at this. Future jobs. Work from home facilitator. This is ridiculous. Work from home facilitator, fitness commitment counselor, smart home design manager, XR immersion counselor, workplace environment architect, algorithm bias auditor. Like some of these you never heard of, right? Some of these is just astronomically has some funky, weird names. Cyber calamity forecaster, tidewater architect, human machine team manager, human machine teaming manager. What are some of these jobs that you should really be looking out for? A data analyst gathers, cleans, and studies data sets to help solve problems. Soon they will be going away because they know that they can program a machine to do that. What else? Let me show you something else. How much they're making. Let me see how much they have on here. It says, what is the qualification for a data analyst? They said most of these guys have a bachelor level degree, high level data analyst job, etc. But this is the money maker right here, family. Data engineers. What's their salary? Why are they showing ruples and Indian money? I tell you. And that's another thing. A lot of these data jobs, a lot of these technology jobs, guess who they're going to? Indians. Indians from India. They come over here in droves and they are taking all the technology jobs legally. They're taking all the technology jobs legally. Large corporations go over to India because India, probably about 80% of the entire country is learning software, is learning how to build language through Linux and Raspberry. And some of them are trying to create their own computer language. So they come over here and they take all the jobs legally because these corporations pay for their what is it called? HSIs, HSNs. They pay for their work visas. And they keep extending their work visas because why would I pay you 150 and I can pay Ahmed 80 grand? Why would I do that? And he's going to work twice as hard as you because he came from a third world country. See, the U.S. average data engineer working for this company with this many years of experience, 150,000, 200,000. I'm gonna go over to India, pay for his immigration work visa, and I'm gonna pay him 80 grand. And he's gonna be living the high life. They said we're going to pay for you and your family to move over here because I know you're taking care of your family. We're going to do a relocation allowance. It's going to be totally free. We're going to give you a bonus so you can buy a house. And that's why you see, especially here in Texas, there's a lot of Indian American neighborhoods. And almost 100% of them are either in tech or they're doctors. They're either doctors or they're techs. That's what most Indians come over here to do. Are data engineers well paid? They're saying over in the UK, data analysts get up to 77,000 pounds a year, which is probably roughly around 85,000 for USD. It says right here what type of paying engineers, what type of top engineers get paid the highest. What's the first one on the list, family? Computer hardware engineer, aerospace engineer, nuclear engineer, system engineer, chemical engineer, electrical engineer, biomedical engineer, and environmental engineers. And guess what? All of these engineering jobs has to do with what? Technology. It has to do with technology. What about these sort of degrees that a lot of people don't even look at? You can go out and get your certification and start making really good money. They're not easy, but at least it's not going to college. And you'll have to stay 4 years. You study your butt off, you take the test, and you can instantaneously walk on a job making 90 grand a year, making almost $100,000 a year. Let's look at it. Right here, the Scrum Master. A lot of you don't even know what a Scrum Master is. A Scrum Master basically improves process. They streamline processes. It's the same thing as Lean Six Sigma with different methods and methodologies. So Scrum and Lean Six Sigma is very similar. It's different because they use different methodologies, but it's somewhat the same. You go in and you streamline a process. But guess what these Scrum managers have to be nowadays? IT Scrum managers. IT Scrum managers. Let's look it up. I want to show you something very, very quickly. I'm going to look up positions. We're going to look up Scrum managers' positions. Who are they working for? Scrum manager, T-Mobile, Scrum manager, Bank of America, Scrum manager, Southwest Airlines. They said over 100 most plus jobs, but you have to know IT. Let's look into it. Look at all of these Scrum managers. Scrum manager, Vanguard, which is a $6 trillion company. Scrum manager, JP Morgan and Chase. Scrum manager of marketing. Scrum manager, Trade Station. Senior Scrum manager, Wells Fargo. See, you didn't know about these, family. You didn't know about these jobs that you only need a certification for. Yes, you can go to a Scrum manager course. And within 6 months to a year, you're making $100,000 off a certification, and you didn't even go to 4 years of college. So when people tell me they can't afford colleges, I say, can you afford a certification? Well, how much is certification going to cost? Most certifications are under $8,000, and and that's expensive. Okay, that's expensive because most certifications cost you anywhere from $250 to $1,500. $250 to around $3,000. Most certifications. $8,000 is on the high end, but it's still cheaper than college. I'm just showing you jobs so you can protect yourself for the future, because I know a lot of you may not want to get into IT, but you're going to have to know a little bit about IT. Let me show you something, and this is for the T-Mobile Scrum Manager job. This is for the T manager because we're looking at the Scrum manager on the left, and we go over to the right. It says T-Mobile is America's Un-carrier. We're redefining the way consumers and businesses buy wireless services. But we're not just a telecommunications company. We are a technology company. We are a technology company. Amazon touts themselves as a technology company. Capital One touts themselves as a technology company. Bank of America touts themselves as technology companies. Why everybody is calling themselves a technology company? You're like, nah, Amazon ain't no technology company. That's a e-commerce company. No, technology company. You're like, oh, I said, you say Google. Nah, man, Google ain't no technology company, man. Google's a search engine. I asked them, hey, man, you got an Apple or Google phone? Oh, I got Android. Who bought out Android and is a part of Google? Google did. Google bought Android. So Android is Google. So software and hardware, because I even have a Pixel 5, which is created and made by who? And the software is made by who? Just like Apple. Everything is by Apple. So family, here's one more job that's in the Lean Six Sigma space, just like Scrum. This one here is called Agile Scrum Manager. Okay. How much do Scrum managers make? What it says right there, family, $95,000 a year, a base salary. So if I look at, let's see here. Let's go into Glassdoor, because you can see right here, and this is in Texas. Think about how much you'll be making in New York, LA, Boston, Philly. It says right here that the average pay of a Scrum Master is $101,000 in Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth area. Are you serious? That's a lot of money in Texas, and that is a certification. I'm gonna take it one step further. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna look up a what? A Scrum Master course, not a Scrum Master school. Look at this, Scrum Master certification. So I'm gonna look up one more thing. Scrum Master certification, not cost. Hey, well, we look up cost. Let's look up cost. How much this thing cost? What does it say, family? It says that it costs $150 for a PSMI certification, $250, and the other one is $500 for level 3. And another one is $500 for level 3. It's under $1,000, like I said, from $250 on up. Most certifications. What's the other thing? Oh, let's look at timeline. How long does it take to get this certification? It says to earn your CSM. Oh, this is giving you the criteria here. But it says our CSM course is 16 hours, either live in person over 2 consecutive days, because you're like, I'm not doing 16 hours in one day. Some people might. It's over 2 consecutive days, or live online for 4 days. Okay. Then it says, how long does it take to get one? 16 hours. 16 hours, you can have a certification and make 100 grand a year in 16 hours. 16 hours. Is it an easy course? No. But as you can tell, it's much cheaper than going to school. It's under $500, and you can make $95,000 from it. But you have to know IT. And I don't mean know it like write it, but you have to understand some very basics of it. Because in these Master Scrum, Lean Six Sigma, you have to learn you have to know a little bit about computers. And I don't just mean like, oh, Control Alt Delete will shut it down if you do it twice. Not that. Okay. He said, what was the software companies I named? Man, I was on a rhythm. I don't know. I forgot already. It's kind of dark in here. Hold on for a second, family. Man, you might want to cover your Google phones. Hey, Google, turn on Raw's pit lights. Yeah, I got a little more lighting here. It was getting dark in here. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, okay? We stood here about 45 minutes. I think people have the point, okay? Move this out the way. I think people got the point with that. And if you haven't, if you're just joining in, please rewind it. There's a lot of information I want you guys to get and understand. Now, does anybody know the world's richest continent? Does anybody know the world's richest continent? This should be easy for most of you guys. The world richest continent. Go ahead, put it in the chat room. Go ahead and put it in the chat room. The world richest continent. Africa. Africa. Thank you. Thank you, D General. Thank you, Bass Man. Africa. Now, there you go, James Dunn, Africa. But here's another question. Which is the world's poorest continent? What is the world's poorest continent? Does anybody know that one? Let me help you out. North America. North America is the world's poorest country. And some of you guys are saying, what the fuck is he talking about? They're like, man, he got that backwards. No, I didn't. Africa is the world's richest country, while America is the world's poorest country. This is what I want you to do. I want you to look at our natural resources compared to Africa's natural resources. What is our money backed by? It's backed by nothing. It's backed by debt. Because if you look up the current North American currency system, it's a fiat system. So our money is no longer backed by gold and silver. That changed since the early 70s. So if your money is not backed by anything tangible, then your money ain't worth a damn dime. But the illusion is America is the richest company because most of our citizens here live pretty good. We have high homeless rates in the cities, but compared to Africa, we're living like kings and queens. To some of these people living in these mud houses, these shelters, and I'm not saying some of them don't want to live there, but a lot of them are just doing very, very bad. They're struggling for everything. Davey says, I was thinking Antarctica because nobody lives there. I was about to say something slick as hell, man. So listen, Davey, I got you with the Antarctica because nothing can grow there, and right? But I'm talking about where people live at. That's what I mean. What's really worth to people. So let's get into it. So Africa, as we see it, is the world's richest country. And we understand is worldwide white supremacy that has flipped the narrative that if you have the most resources, then you're the poorest country. But we understand that a lot of parts of Africa, a lot of African countries are corrupt, not only by their own politicians, because not all of the countries that are corrupt are by the politicians, a lot of them are by their European colonizers. Even though that they gave majority of the African countries their independence, most of them are still influenced by their colonizers. There's still some countries in Africa, and just to let you know, there's 54 countries in Africa. That's 54 countries in Africa. Some of them are still colonized by the French. Uh-oh. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let me play this for you guys. If I can display it.
That's too easy?
No, sir.
It's not. Let's go. Come on, grab. Don't let it go. Grab. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. You let it go, we grab it again. There you go. Get up. Get up. Recover. There you go. Come on. Good. Come on. Get up. Come on. They will show you most. Come on. You gotta get it. Come on. You hurt? You hurt?
Yes.
Where? You're nervous. That's good. And it's so jacked up for men and boys that we can't even be emotional. You could just say you're nervous. Go back. Grab it again. Say you're nervous.
He kept trying to fight, and then he gave up. He said, "Why did you give up?" He said, "I'm nervous." He said, "I'm nervous." And then he didn't know how to handle his emotions. Family, if you don't understand what's going on in the world, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be worse than nervous, I assure you. You're not going to have a job. You're going to be homeless because you're not understanding how the world works, how worldwide economics works in tangent with white supremacy. Because we've been fooled, we've been duped to believe that we live in the richest country with some of the least resources. Am I telling you to go live in Africa? No. But you can go over there and visit. You can go over there and actually buy land in some of the countries there. Because I remember Akon saying something that how Africa is going to be the future. I believe it. And now I don't know how far into the future, but I believe it. He's building Akon City, which is a technological city. I mean, he's doing just what the businessmen here in America. He went over to China, got some engineers together. We outsource everything. But hopefully you're understanding this, family. Let's move on. I'm going to show you how rich Africa is.
Despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves? It's quite evident that the aid is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming? By systematically destabilizing the wealthiest African nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing light of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta. How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds.
Uh-oh.
But instead, you should come empty-handed,
She said,
filled with
you give us your
integrity
color
and
paper worth
honor.
nothing while we give you gold and diamonds.
We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and thriving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that 6 out of 10 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth. The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out. Foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt it forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance.
Uh-oh. Family, I hope you listened to that. That was very, very powerful. There's a lot to partake in that. That's a lot of information. But that last quote was very, very powerful. She said, basically, when the predators overhunt, as they have been, that through natural selection, the prey will become the predator. Africa is the richest countries in the world. And it's because of white supremacy, all of their resources are funneled, tunneled, stole out of their country. And as the sister said, France received $500 billion from Africa each year. And the former French president said, without Africa's support, stealing all their resources, gold, diamonds, etc., France would be a third world country. And I'm not picking on France or Frenchmen or French women. This goes for all of those European countries: Great Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany. They have no resources on their continent, in their countries. They have no resources. They depend on Africa. And I'm seeing slowly but surely in the Caribbean, they're now renouncing the Queen Elizabeth as their sovereign. They said, no, you're not our sovereign no more. We renounce your authority in this country. I think that's the second or third Caribbean country. They renounced the Queen of England. Some of you may not even know that. The Queen of England as sovereign, but they're still probably around 10. If you include Australia and Canada, they still list the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, as their sovereign. There's some people like, oh, she really don't meddle with our affairs. She's not, we have a president. No. Look up the word sovereign. That title means, I don't know why people don't understand that words mean things. And every time she goes over there, I don't think she's been over there for a while, they roll out the red carpet. Why would you do that for her? Oh, because she's royalty. Why is she coming there? She's not coming there to support you. She's coming there to take your resources. You have been colonized by this country, but why is she still visiting? Side quote. Makes no sense. We're going to run through these resources. And I'm not going to read all the countries. Okay, I'm just going to read the resources that Africa has. And some of these I may not know. You have phosphates, petroleum. And you see petroleum all over the place here in the North Africa, Morocco, some other countries I can familiarize myself with. Petroleum and gas, gold, uranium, petroleum, natural gas and gold, uranium, aluminum and diamonds and timber, fish, titanium, diamonds and cobalt, diamonds and petroleum, diamonds and fish, gold, fresh water, coal, platinum, aluminum and gas, tobacco, copper, nickel and uranium, gold, copper, tea, coffee, uranium, gold, natural gas, all over the continent of Africa. Cocoa beans, cotton, you name it, iron ore, graphite. They have it all. And let's not even get into timber. Now, I don't think they want to kill any of their safaris, but they have a lot of trees. Just want to say. But for some reason, now I'm going to look this up very quickly. You guys are probably wanting to know what is North America's natural resources? What are North America's natural resources compared to Africa? You saw a lot of gold and diamonds, uranium, all the metals that we need, all the metals that we use. Now, some of the things they didn't say, which you just have to understand, agriculture, because they all have all type of fresh food up there. They have a lot of land. That's even uncharted. Now, a lot of these lands do have wild animals, and some of these lands don't have anything. But you can still build on land. Look at Dubai. Dubai is in the middle of the desert and built an entire city. And the majority of the residents there are super rich. So it don't matter. It's like, man, ain't nothing out there. Look at Dubai. So as long as you got the land, but let's look at North America's natural resources. Agriculture. Africa got that. Talking about fruit, food. Okay, let's move on. Forestry. Really? Africa got trees. And believe me, they have more trees. Don't forget, Africa only roughly has around 900 million citizens, but they're almost double the size of America? I didn't look at land mass. But Africa is humongous. Africa, if you do not combine Europe and Asia, what makes Eurasia, Africa is the second largest continent. Because Antarctica, I believe, is the largest continent, if I'm not mistaken. Let's move on. Mining. You saw they have mining in Africa. They have coal. Everything that we have, they have times 10. Times 100. I don't even know why drilling is drilling for oil. Okay, you saw natural gas and you saw oil. They have that times 10, times 100. Let's move on. The built environment. That's not a natural resource. Okay, what else do they have on here? That's it. This is from the National Geographic, and it's telling you here North America's resources. They saying you have fertile soils, fresh water, oil, and mineral deposits. That's it. That's it. Did you see gold and diamonds, petroleum? We got some petroleum, oil and gas and copper and coffee beans and cotton and mining. Did you see all of that? You probably never just looked up the natural resources. Oh, it got good land to grow stuff. Africa does too, times 100. So the question is, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, whoever wants to join me here. Why is it they're the poorest country if they're the richest company? I'm going to put a link in the chat. Who else wants to join me here? We'll talk about it for a couple of minutes. James Dunn says, the look in your face says it all. Indeed. Agriculture. When you think about Africa, you're like, hey, man, what you think? You can plant some stuff out there in Africa? You're like, ain't nothing but the jungle. Everything is planted. You know, somebody say some crazy stuff like that. Like, of course. And then it says mining. Okay. Family, if you don't prepare yourself for the future, you're going to even be left behind by Africa, which you might want to end up buying some land and investing in. Just saying, you might want to look into it because they have one of the world's, well, not Africa. Africa is a continent, but a lot of countries in Africa have some of the world's fastest growing GDPs. And again, they're sitting on all the resources. As you can see here, we don't have that many resources. Can you hear me, family? I think I'm good to go now. I think I'm good to go. So basically, I was saying when I'm talking about gold, is that most people focus on gold and silver. But if you looked at Africa, it had diamonds, gold and silver, uranium, copper, platinum. Remember, platinum was on there. But when you look, most people focus on gold and silver, but all currencies, world currencies of the world are backed by a precious metal. A portion of their money may be backed by gold, another portion silver. But when you look at this, other portions, and let me share this with you, are backed by platinum and palladium. So if you look here over to the far right, you see the gold price right there in front of you at $1,700 $187. And then look over to your right. They're also giving you silver prices, platinum prices, and palladium prices. Why are they giving to you that? Why not just giving you gold and silver? If gold and silver is the most important. Because also currencies are backed by platinum and palladium and also copper. So this is a video within a video. Buy precious metals like I do. I buy gold and silver. I probably need to buy some more. I haven't really bought none in a while. And again, I may not ever get a chance to cash in on my investment, but my kids will. This is another way how you make generational wealth. You buy precious metals because it slowly but surely the world is going back by tangible precious metals to back their money instead of off this global worldwide system of fiat. Because from a lot of the people that I learned that are from Africa, different countries in Africa, they used to pass down their houses, right? Generational wealth, generational houses. Because back in the day, Africa, you had to pay for whatever you was paying for 100%. There was no IOUs. There was no loans. No. You bought a house. They worked their butt off 30, 40 years to buy that house. And then that land in that house is passed down. And then if those descendants did right by the house, they renovated the house, they expanded the house on the land, but they're buying 50 to 100 acres of family property being passed down, but they had to pay 100%. This is what the world is slowly going back to. Now, I think in America, they'll find some way to always give you a loan. But if you take countries like Africa if you take a continent like Africa and the countries that are in Africa, they had to pay for things 100%. So I do tell you, go out and invest in precious metals. Now, I'm loving silver right now. Silver is used in a lot of medical equipment. Silver is used in solar panels. And right now, silver's at $23 an ounce, $24 an ounce compared to gold. Now, granted, if you don't want to buy a bunch of silver, gold is going to hit 2,000. Gold is going to hit 2,000. But here's the thing. Would you buy your gold here or would you go to Africa to buy your gold? I mean, you can buy some soil here, right? They said agriculture. But Africa has literally all the resources. So when you ask yourself who truly is the world's richest continent or richest countries, you're going to think North America because what you see on TV, but slowly but surely, a lot of African nations, okay, they're pushing back. They're telling their colonizers no more. We're tired of our people being poor. We're tired of our people being sick. We're tired of our people struggling of starvation and hunger and not living in adequate living. So I want you to think about the future when it comes to your job, your career, your skills, your experience, your degrees and certification. I want you to think about future protecting yourself. And I also want you to think about investments. Whether it be going over to Africa, buying land, buying precious metals, or doing it here, using an American company, because the investments will pay off over the course of time. And again, you're building brick by brick. You're building brick by brick, if not for you, then for your family. I really think you should really give this some thought, family. Because when I look at the continent of Africa, the only thing I see is money. Only thing I see is wealth, petroleum, iron ore, aluminum, diamonds. And people don't even understand aluminum is a very, very precious metal that they use, and it's expensive when they use aluminum. Gold, diamonds, copper, platinum, gas, tobacco, fish, timber. I want you to be first. Because if you don't understand what's going on, then you will be last. And that's just an analogy for your ass gonna be homeless.